Solaris, how are you?
Oh, I'm just wonderful. How are you doing?
How are things in Colorado?
Just lovely.
Just
Just as
lovely.
frosty. just as frosty on that.
Are you guys getting rain?
Oh, right now, no, it's actually high winds. A little bit of
Oh,
wind.
I hate these high winds lately. Seems like
Yeah,
we're getting a lot of those.
looks that way. Par for the
Anyway,
course.
yeah.
Winds of change.
A lot of winds of change, a lot of amazing things going on
Hmm.
politically, particularly the loss of freedom of speech for conservatives. It seems to be across the board that Twitter and Facebook and YouTube are conspiring to remove the conservative voice. Have you noticed this?
Oh, yeah, I've noticed it more and more. I think it's going to bleed through to, obviously more like a minority report to some degree with banks and censorship and people having a hard time with just getting employed. So it's getting politically strange, distorted, and very concerning. There's no doubt about that one.
We're seeing the loss of freedom in the
Hmm.
United States.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I
And
can't
that's from the
believe.
internal saboteurs. It's like the Trojan horse. We
Right.
talked about this, over 10 years ago, remember?
Did we?
Yeah. Well, it seems like it. As long as I've known you, we've talked about different things. But I know I've talked about the black umbrella, and so far as this country losing its freedom and all of the treason that's being committed with the previous administrations that never was addressed.
I
So
know.
I think that it's now a bleed-through effect. You're seeing the results. You're seeing it, cause and effect. Bottom line. So
And what is this hatred towards Trump? It to me, this
yeah.
whole Trump derangement syndrome, where people they just see him as the greatest villain of all time, and actually, he's probably been one of the very best presidents we've ever had.
Yeah, they'll miss him when he's gone. It's a psychological operation, if you ask me. It's completely a psyop, the way I see it.
Do you?
People are triggered. Absolutely, they're mind controlled. They're socially engineered, and that has a lot to do with the propaganda from mainstream. Constantly pounding people in the head with this propaganda is eventually going to bleed through into their own reality. You're seeing how they're acting.
Do you think that is it that people are just so conditioned to believe that the mainstream media is telling the truth? They just don't know how to filter things. They don't have an internal test within them anymore to be able to tell when information isn't true.
Well, I can tell you that much. If that's the case, then we're in big trouble because it tells me their IQs are like zero. Seriously. Bottom line, I don't mean to sound insulting, but Frosty Woolridge was talking about he was discussing the IQs, and
Oh
I think
yeah.
that has a lot to do with it. And here in America, it seems to me like the dumbing down of America has literally taken place, and that has a lot to do with not being able to have critical thinking, using discernment when it comes down to decision making. Things that are normal for us to process is something they can't even comprehend it. They can't even comprehend. So it does make me a little bit, concerned, more than concerned about it, because this is our livelihood, this is our life, and this is America. So
Well, if they can squelch the conservative voice, they can really affect the next election.
I have a really bad feeling about 2020. I really do.
Oh, do you?
And there's no place to run and there's no place to go except off planet if we had the option. Seriously, I feel like this is going to be such a disgusting election, and so many things are so illegal already that it just tells me that we're going to see a lot of numbers skewed, a lot of fake election ballots.
Oh yeah.
You name it. They could flip a switch and change all the votes.
Yeah. So what do
Yeah.
what do you think about Michael Cohen, this lawyer of Trump, who evidently was a very corrupt individual? Why did Trump ever have him as a lawyer?
Yeah, I don't know much about that. I haven't been diving into too much of him.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense for him to have a lawyer that corrupt unless he wanted somebody who was able to navigate on both sides. That's the only thing I can think of. If you have somebody who's kind of dirty, then they're able to go into other areas with other people and other types of political arenas where maybe somebody else who had a better background wouldn't be able to get in. I don't know. That's just me looking at it from afar.
This guy
Observation.
he was pretty bad. I mean, not only did he lie to Congress, but he lied to like 4 different banks. I don't know what he was doing, trying maybe to take out a loan. He also was busted by the IRS as well. Now, so he was legitimately corrupt, I think, Michael Cohen, who, just listen to that testimony of his, because he's become a total traitor to Trump. And it really, I feel like there's so many traitors now.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's a Caesar syndrome. That's what I call it. He's like Julius Caesar incarnate, you know? It's just like, they all have a knife in their hand. It's really sad to watch this. It really is, because what you're witnessing is the last breath of the United States, the spirit of America. Seriously, you really are. They're trying to pretend they can resurrect this country. No, not in the hands of the Democratic Party. Absolutely not. So,
to me, when I see the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, have you heard of her?
Oh gosh,
ACO,
stupid, idiot. You know, I can't believe it. And I still to this day will challenge her. Insofar as I don't believe she was legally elected. I believe that was a skew.
Oh, do
and
you?
That they fixed the number. Absolutely, I do. I swear to you. I've got such a hit on that insofar as I don't believe she's legally there. So people should really look into that background and see, because I guarantee you they messed with those numbers to get her in.
And if I look at what I've done to look at her background, to me, she was a bartender. That was really what she's really done.
She's basically, you know, how do you say incompetent? But I listened to her talk. And she sounds like a 5-year-old. She literally, I'm like, where did she come from? I can understand if she's brilliant and she's a genius, but she's not.
No.
This is somebody who really doesn't know what they're doing. She's out of her league when it comes down to Congress. And you know, what are we supposed to do, as I said a billion times over? We're supposed to bring her in there and let her make all these mistakes on behalf of this country so she can get her feet wet? I don't think so. Something's got to give with that situation. Not to mention her whole attitude towards socialism and Marxism and everything else associated. It's one big, it all dovetails into the same arena.
Well, in her Green New Deal with, we're going to all have electric cars. Well, you know, I have nothing against electric cars. I drive a Prius. I think having an electric car is a good thing, but it requires some things. For example, I have a long commute. Now, I can get there with an electric car, but I don't know if I can get it back home. Mm-hmm. I don't know if these electric cars now would go 2 hours straight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
An hour there and then an hour back.
Well, you know, when people propose things like that, Mark, I have to say, you first. You know, that's my motto when people start this crap, because they're always the ones that are literally there with the best cars, with the best jets, you know, private planes, and everything else associated with the big bank accounts. They're not suffering. They're not feeling the hit. They want everybody else to, and that's not acceptable.
So, who would pay? Like if I was mandated, I had to get an electric car. Would I have to, out of my own money, empty my savings out just to buy an electric car?
Well, you know, I thought everything was free.
Yeah. Does the government pay for it? And then what happens when the government pays for, you know, 100 million cars? I mean, how, you know, we're already at a deficit.
Right.
How can we?
Well, you know, I don't think that is the answer. Electric cars, not the answer. I get the hybrid cars. I get all that. We have to go to the free energy like we were supposed to a long time ago, and we never did.
Right.
So now I'm looking at a self-destruct sequence in this country and around the world. And like I said, I think between 2020 and 2022 will say all. And it is very concerning, because the fate of our country and the stability of our country lies on the future of that whole window of time. And right now I see nothing but treason and people who are here illegally and don't want to do the work, don't want to step up to the higher overtones of what needs to be done to make themselves American citizens. We've got people supporting all sorts of violence and criminal activity out there, from all different types of, you know, Congress people. And gosh, well, don't get me started. There's a whole list, you know.
It's interesting that you talk about the collapse of the U.S. in 2020, because Billy has a contact report 544, that says just that. And he talks about, in 2020, the superpower USA could come to an end.
Well, that's a shame. And you know what? I swear to you, and I don't know if you want to ask Billy about this or not, but it seems to me, and we've had discussions about, you know, the Nazi regime and the SS, but it tells me that the contracts that they had to be the ones that were the breakaway society, something happened where they switched contracts or expired the contract, and now it's about just letting this world go to hell in a handbasket. And those who made it off planet are actually off planet in other civilizations terraforming. That's my own take when I think about the Fourth Reich. The reason I say that is because that's what it's mirroring right now. It's like they're letting everything go to hell in a handbasket because they've released all their control mechanisms. In other words, that particular group that had a lot of control in the Black Science Department now is moving on. So that's just my intuition. I don't know if he's actually looked into that or not, but I sure see it.
Well, Alex Jones is talking about a breakaway civilization now.
Is he?
Yeah,
Well,
you should check that one interview
Well, he's
out.
probably heard my show, but I've been talking about the breakaway civilizations, that the only way out is up in a way, and that sounds like Superman, but literally it's about moving off planet, and for us to live off planet and sustain ourselves out there, if we can't live here, we've got to move on. We've got to go. And we can't lower our IQs, and we can't live like a third world country in the process. So, yeah, I'm very much into that.
Well, it's interesting. Billy says, what does he say? When I consider that which you already confided to me, he's speaking probably to Ptah or Quetzal, probably Ptah here. What you already confided to me during my great trip in 1975, that's when he was in the mothership. That according to your probability calculations, the superpower USA would come to an end after 2020 if nothing in this country changes for the better by then. Some things have gotten better and some things aren't. So
the resistance is unbelievable. And the saddest part of all is that these people that are creating all these problems for the president, the current administration, are just digging their own graves down the road. And they think they're going to make a success. They think this is going to be something, we're going to change it all. And actually, if they could see their future, if they could look into the Palantir, they would see themselves digging their own graves and actually getting ready to live in their graves. That's what they're doing. They have no future. Their ignorance is shown. They have no future. I'm sorry, but it's true.
I know you probably remember me talking to Frosty today on the show.
Yeah, it was a great show. I love Frosty.
Thank you very much. About the homeless in L.A.
And
what I was looking on the web said 50,000, but he said he's seen as many as 90,000.
Insane. And Denver, of course,
And they're living in tent cities, and they're defecating on the street. A lot of them have diseases like typhus. We were talking about typhus.
Right.
It's ghastly. This is the United States. It wasn't that way 10 years ago.
No, they're wanting to turn it into a slum. The problem is that you have all these people wanting to be in America. Well, they're coming to America, all right, but they're not here to raise the bar. They're here to lower it. And that's the biggest problem I run into. It's like, I don't care if you come, I don't care what color you are, where you come from. Be educated, learn, want to grow, want to evolve. We're not seeing this. We're seeing the violence. We're seeing way, way opposite. We're seeing an inversion of what's supposed to be going on right now. And we see people in Congress and people in high positions of authority supporting it, which is high treason, literally high treason.
Yeah, but
so I don't know what to say anymore about it. I really don't. It's frustrating.
It's not treated that way, though. It's encouraged. It's allowed. And I don't know if you heard Sean Hannity lately, but he's come out like his last show, and he said, I'm paraphrasing a lot here, but he said basically that there's a whole bunch of legal action coming against the left. And David Wilcox has said that kind of thing as well. And I'll believe it when I see it personally.
That's me. Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to hold my breath. I have heard all kinds of things from tribunals to this and that. He's been, look how long he's been in office already, and nothing's happened. I'm not saying he's not getting things done, but I'll tell you point blank, if he really had an ace in the hole, then he would actually be out there doing the tribunal right now. There's no reason why. He has control over the military.
When they lock up Hillary, then I'll believe it.
Oh, it'll never happen. None of that's going to happen. They have a get out of jail free card. That's part of their little inheritance from covert operations and alphabet agencies.
I wonder who is really behind this. They talk about the elite, the Illuminati, the global elite. Who are these people? Is it the George Soros of the world? Is it someone above him?
Yeah, I think it's the EU mixed in with the Middle East, for sure. And I don't even want to say the military-industrial complex anymore. I think they've lost control a long time ago.
Do you?
To be honest, yeah.
Wow.
I really do. And the CIA, of course, we always know how they control and manipulate globally, so they have a lot to do with what's happening here. But I'll tell you what, nobody's going to benefit in this. As I said before, not one person is going to benefit from tearing down this country, because it will never be rebuilt again. It will never be built. I'm telling you. Wow. I'm telling you, Mark. I can see it. So if they think they can just restructure it and all is groovy, they're in for a big surprise.
Wow.
Because our ancestors, our celestial, I'm talking off-world celestial ancestors, say no. So whatever they want to do, if they want to behave this way and they want to bring this country down this way, well, they're going to suffer the consequences, and that's the universal law. That's the cosmic law. without getting too esoteric. And I'm pretty sure that Billy Meyer might even affirm that to some degree.
Well, he's talked about it's very possible that we could slip into a regressive state, into a very primitive state of living, where we go back, where society goes backwards. You know what I'm talking about?
It's inverted, and that's exactly what I was talking about. It's like everything's going backwards in time in the illusion, but the time is a synthetic timeline. In other words, they've created it, they've manufactured it through their own ignorance, and we can't live there. You know, it's like they're trying to take away our celestial heritage and birthright through our consciousness and evolution, by dumbing everybody down and drugging and medicating people and keeping their energetic field in a stasis with a signals interface, like what they did to me. That's the frequency fence I talk about, where they're trying to control and manipulate your brainwave activity to dumb it down or switch it off or keep you from evolving and ascending. I mean, this thing is a global net, and it's very concerning what they're doing here. But I will not live like that, and I will not live under that oppressive
I worry
energy.
about 5G.
Oh, well, that's part of it. All of these different types of transmissions aren't necessarily healthy. Right. And honestly, I really believe, as much as I love computers and technology, that the misuse of and the way they've been using all of these technologies, including the internet, has been such a downward spiral for the mass collective. Because that's where I've seen people not get educated, but actually become more ignorant. And I guess it's the social media, really. It's not necessarily the computers themselves, it's more about social media that's really damaged people.
Do you think social media is damaging people now?
Oh, absolutely, I do. I think it's busy time instead of reading a book or going out and working out. People are stuck at their computers, and they're addicted to the texting. They're addicted to being on social media. I only get on there to promote my radio shows, but I don't want to be on social media. I really, really don't. I could do without it. And as a matter of fact, I'm much happier not even interacting with anybody, really. So I do think it is a downward spiral. I really do. But then at the same time, you're seeing through the window of the world on the internet how people behave.
It's very hard for me to even find a meaningful discussion anymore on Facebook. I don't know why. It didn't seem like it started out that way, but it seems like it's becoming more and more like that.
Right. The passion seems to be going, but also I believe that a lot of people are being banned, shadow banned, and censored. So you're seeing a lot of that going on. So the people that were actually speaking up aren't necessarily on there anymore. They've been kicked off. That happens. So that could be part of it. But I also feel like maybe people are just getting wise to the situation, saying, I don't even want to be part of it anymore. I just post pictures these days, or flowers or something. I'm done. Would you rather go for a walk in the forest or actually look at a picture of a tree? I guess that's what it boils down to, right? And we both know the answer to that.
That's very
But it's
funny.
true, isn't it?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're dealing with, is everybody's stuck to this, computer screen, and they're staring at pictures. But I'm like, get up, go out, and move your energy. Breathe. So I know I'm probably all fired up, but that's the way I see it.
Yeah, it is weird. There's a very weird, and then I come up against people, unfortunately, and some of them I know and care for and respect, who are just have been completely triggered by this whole scenario, this Trump syndrome, whatever it is.
I don't get that at all. But I'll tell you one thing: eventually they're gonna realize that they were wrong to overreact, and they're gonna get it. But by the time they do, it's too late. That's the problem we're running into. It's like, snap out of it ahead of time, but they're not going to. That's so unfortunate. It takes people decades to grow up and evolve. And for this sort of, I can't understand it for the life of me, how they could be so socially engineered, but I guess whatever magic wand they waved in their heads.
I can't either, because CNN is so obviously bogus.
It's just anybody who does the math, has a logical way of assessing information, would be able to see the BS, seriously, and call the BS.
Yeah, how can they not see it? There was one of these shows today where one of these commentators was saying basically the same thing. That CNN is so flagrantly bad, so flagrantly false, that how could it go unnoticed?
Well, they're international. They're global. They're part of the global intelligence array. When it comes down to it, that's all propaganda, if you ask me. But that's the way the media has been all along. We just never noticed, because they weren't pushing this hard. Wow. They weren't pushing the propaganda this hard. I've never seen such lies and deception this hard since Trump's been in office, or in prior when he was running for office. That's when I started seeing the craziness. Really, they were just pushing full speed ahead. So they're desperate. But the bottom line is, like I said before, they might as well hand themselves shovels to dig their own graves, because that's what's happening here.
I wonder why they're desperate. I've heard that from other people.
It's very interesting.
That feels the left is desperate.
They seem like a drug addict who you've taken away their drugs or something, and they're just flipping out or something. That's the analogy I use. That something's really wrong with that. But they want it their way. They want this world to be completely indoctrinated into a global agenda, into this system that literally is non-productive. And I don't want it like that. I want my freedom and free will to be honored, and freedom of thought, freedom of speech. And they want to sit there and trash this country. My goodness, it's not perfect, but it's been a great country. They should have appreciated it while they were here.
I never completely finished. What did George Orwell write? What was it called again? 1984?
1984.
Yeah. I never finished it. I found a PDF of it one day, and they even have an audio book. Oh my God, it's 9 hours long. Mm-hmm. Oh my Lord. See, to me it was so dark. It's dark. I got like 50 pages in or something. I'm like, this is horrible. I'm going to be clinically depressed if I read this whole thing. Yeah, it is a dark world, but it's interesting how accurate it is on so many different levels. The dark world is actually here. It is so accurate. We're on the very verge of it. Right. It's kind of like planting flowers. We're just sitting here paying attention and being positive and creating these pockets of energy and light, but the whole world is growing dark around us. And now it's here in America. That darkness has started here, and we're still planting our flowers and we're being these beacons of light. But I'm telling you, it's very concerning. And that's why I kept saying, I want to live off planet. I feel at this point, the continuation of the illusion of living, that the only way out is to live off planet on one that's very similar to this one, insofar as being able to live on it. But I think we have to think about the future. And the future is off-world for us, for beings like us. And they're trying to bottleneck that black space program, too, by the way. So they want to have the 1% off planet and the overpaid entertainment industry and all these other people. But I have a gnosis about that. And I'm very, very clear that they're not going to make it. So that's another scenario. That's another avenue. And I don't know if Billy's talked about that or not. Did you say gnosis?
Yes.
That's a Greek word, right?
Yeah. It's the knowing.
Yeah, a knowing. Yeah. That's interesting. I don't hear people use that word very often. Just comes to mind here and there. Unless they're a Greek scholar.
Well, I do have some Greek in me.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you have a gnosis about?
Just the future in the illusion of living off-world, insofar as the people that have been trying to bottleneck all the technology, the people that are currently bottlenecking technology and information, even the covert warfare that I was subjected to, they're wanting to break away with their own group and collectives. That is going to flatline off planet because they're not prepared for the true space-time configuration that will encapsulate them and actually destroy their technology. You just had a teaser of my future book, by the way. They'll be out in about a month and a half to 2 months. But that's the fact. Oh, yeah? This isn't fantasy. This isn't some stupid Star Wars game. This is literally about what's happening. You're working on another one? I'm actually almost ready to launch it. I have to. I'm working on the cover right now, and I have it almost ready. It should be ready in about a month and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is big news.
Yeah, and you just got the teaser too. And this is actually an analysis of artificial intelligence and also where they're going with this technology. But what they've been doing and what their whole agenda is to leave everybody in the dust here to basically be annihilated to some degree and just go backwards in the illusion of space and time, become the inversion while they break away. And that's going to collapse onto them. And this is what I mean by the global intelligence and also the military intelligence, too. The people that are using these projects nefariously, they're going down, too. I don't know if they even know their future. If they're so good at remote viewing, why can't they see what I know?
What do you think of Elon Musk? Is he on the dark side?
I used to like him. I feel like he's completely manipulated, bottom line. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him.
Oh, really?
No. And I've contacted him over a few years ago. I think I mentioned it to you about the artificial intelligence, synthetic telepathy. And instead of assisting me, he went full speed ahead once again with his neural net and studying artificial intelligence. And then he's out there saying, artificial intelligence is really dangerous to the mainstream. No kidding, buddy, because I was interconnected with it in 2004 and testified in 2006 and decoded the technology, which DARPA has been running with. So don't get me started, with him. But no, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him, but he's also an asset to them. He's contracted with our nice little defense departments, and there's only one way you can launch that kind of satellite technology out there, and you have to be really tight with them. So
you said he is controlled. He strikes me that way as well, and I can't really put it into words. I don't know why. He has alters. There's no doubt about it. He has synthetic alters. What comes to mind is something connected to MK Ultra, but not necessarily MK Ultra. He has multiple personalities.
Multiple personalities. I wouldn't say he's bipolar. I'm not saying he's mentally ill. I would say he's been influenced and heterodyne to a level where he appears that way.
He has very unusual mannerisms in the way he...
It's a program.
Yeah, it feels
like, actually,
yeah, it's a program. I mean, so you're saying, like, he has these facial expressions, and they're kind of exaggerated, and
animated
these movements.
That's interconnection. That's part of the technological interface. I wouldn't be surprised if he was hit with a program. And actually, Zuckerberg also, I looked at, and I can profile people, by the way, because where I've been.
He looks the same way. He's like he's like mesmerized or something.
Well, what's funny is I've been interconnected with the technology, and I know what it does to you. So when I look at people who have had access or have been interfered with or have had some type of manipulation, I can see. And I can tell you that Zuckerberg's definitely plugged into the technology.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
He doesn't hardly blink. His eyes are wide open.
He's totally interconnected.
Isn't that bizarre looking?
It's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, the technology itself is not bad. It's how they use it. If you're using it on a positive scale, it can actually create a higher IQ, and it does a lot of things on a higher level of consciousness. But with them in their defense departments, they're wanting it for more of an interrogation and more of a negative.
Have you ever noticed the way Zuckerberg drinks? He takes this tiny little sip of water.
I've seen pictures, but
he something unnatural going on there.
Yeah. He didn't get involved in all that until it seems to me like I was inducted in 2004 with the covert technology, and then I think, if I'm not mistaken, Facebook came out in 2005. That was a year into my induction. So that's a sensitive technology, and I know he knew about it.
Is Facebook basically a control mechanism?
Oh, it's data mining out the wazoo. I mean, look how much information they can gather. My goodness. Yeah, global data mining. Plus, they have everything about you. As some people are, I don't want to say foolish, but they are. They're foolish enough to put out their whole life story out there, right down to animals and everything else, to a point where people can put this fake profile in the cyberspace. So you're living in a virtual scenery painted by somebody else who's created a false matrix around you. Now they can sit there and use an inserted, like a psychotronic projection into your mind to show you your past as you're transferring out, and it'll be from something like Facebook pictures, and you'll think you're meeting your spirit guides or some kind of a god. It'll be them.
Have you noticed Jeff Bezos has kind of I don't know if he has does he have an artificial eye or?
You're funny. We're covering all of them tonight. It's funny because when I look at Bezos, I've said it before, he reminds me of Dr. Evil from Austin Powers.
Are you serious? Come on.
I swear to you, if I didn't know better, I said they would have modeled his character after him, because that's the kind of guy he is. I mean, he has how much money? I mean, money you can't even count with.
134 billion right now.
That's more than that, I'm sure. But the thing is, that's what they're telling people.
Right. It's probably way more than that.
He does remind me of Dr. Evil, but if you notice, Dr. Evil has that same kind of thing with his eye. I'm not sure what's going on with him, but I'd have to sit in a room and listen to them, but I can tell you point blank, I can tell you the people that have been programmed or influenced versus the people that haven't.
They have these strange gestures, exaggerated.
Yeah, it's animated.
Yeah, they kind of hold a particular pose unusually long time. It's different. They don't act like a normal human being.
They're probably more than likely animated or interfaced. There's no doubt about it. When they're hearing the communication live feed real time, that's a good surveillance and sci-fi technology, like what I was interacted with or interacting with back in 2004. So, yeah, I suspect that. I can't prove it yet, but I can certainly assess it because of where I've been.
Wow.
That's what I do. I look at it. They have the money to do it. Why wouldn't they? They're totally into the transhumanism. There's nothing to stop them. I know that they love the transhumanism, and plus that whole perverted side to the interface is sexuality too. It's about interfacing with other people that way and getting an extra kick, an extra boost, I should say, in your kundalini when you're interacting.
Really?
So it becomes a toy, and then it becomes a weapon. So
they can make you addicted.
Yes, it's worse than any type of a drug, because it becomes a bio drug to its, synthetically speaking.
Wow. So they can cause the kundalini up and down your spine, kind of.
You can literally amplify your emotional body, but amplify your senses and also your sexual centers, including your chakra system, to a point where you're actually being programmed. So it would be like a ride that you've never had before that's totally incredible. It shoots you out of a cannon type thing when it comes to interaction. I believe that these people are very much addicted to this technology out there and are using it.
Gosh. It makes me sad a little bit. What about the elite that are taking the blood of children? They're in jail. Is that your dog?
That's you. Yeah, you heard the dog outside. That's my boy Lex.
Oh my God!
There's one outside barking. She's a little one, but that's okay. She's just probably chasing it. Well, no, the blood thing. Yeah, I believe that it's more just. To me, it's just low order energy. There's nothing there. But we have prana, we have life force, we have a higher DNA activation through frequency and consciousness. But really, when you look at people trying to drink the blood of somebody else, you're absorbing their energy and life force to some degree, but you're really not getting what you think you're getting. So once again, I find it to be kind of foolish.
Don't some of the elite actually take the transfusion of children now, blood from children?
I think they are. Well, sure, that'll make you younger. That'll definitely boot you up. There's no doubt about that. Anything to basically keep them youthful, right? But the bottom line is there's alchemy of spirit, which deals with consciousness and frequency, where you don't have to use blood transfusions and you don't have to use any of the technologies they're using today, right down to stem cells. You don't have to do any of that, because once you start using frequency, you can actually regenerate yourself through the light body and the Merkaba. That's mystical alchemy.
And what do you think about Elon Musk and Mars? Is this just all going to be a dog and pony show that isn't real? Or do you think people are really going to go eventually?
To me, it just reminds me of one of these fake propaganda stunts, because, first of all, I'm pretty clear, and you are more than likely, that we already have a specific group of people that have already been to various locations and celestial bodies that aren't advertised. So what's the point? The point is to create the propaganda around this country or any other country to kind of promote the space programs. But to me, I'm not even interested, to be honest with you. I find it to be offensive and insulting, because we already know what's out there, and all they're doing is spoon feeding what they want us to hear, what they want us to see, and it's the same old story. And once again, that's the dog and pony show I can't stand anymore. Is the sanitization of all these photographs and all these images that are coming in supposedly.
It's very weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. My mic just kind of bumped there. Hang on.
That was kind of funny.
That was my microphone. That's okay.
Was it your dog? Did he?
Yeah, he actually bumped me.
I figured he did.
Radar. He's right over here with his nose. He's just hanging out.
That's so
good.
funny.
Have
you heard that Elon Musk is getting sued?
No. What happened?
Some of his Tesla investors are suing him over misstatements he allegedly made on Twitter. I don't use Twitter. I'm glad I never did. Have you tried Twitter?
I am on Twitter, but I have a closed account where you have to basically try to get on my account, and I have to approve you.
Oh, that's
I don't have many followers. I just kind of follow some of the feeds here and there. I don't use it the way most people do, so I think I might have seen something like that floating around now that you mention it. But yeah, I don't know. At some point, they all cut each other's throats. That's the bottom line. These people, it's never a handshake that's honest with these people. So in my opinion, when you get into that arena and you get into that world of corporate corruption, he has no choice but to play nice, and or if he doesn't, then he's screwed. They'll find a way to screw him over financially.
Didn't Elon Musk really develop PayPal?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, he was part of that whole thing.
That's a great system.
It's where he made his big money, I guess.
He's smart. I mean, I actually think that's an awesome system, to be honest with you. I don't know about the censorship part. I think they should probably just open it up to everybody and not get so into that. But it is a good system.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the electric Tesla car will take off?
No, I don't.
Interesting.
Do you?
It's awfully expensive, right?
I think he made one that wasn't so expensive. Wasn't it one of those vehicles that was a little bit more affordable?
Yeah, I think he has one, but...
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I would say that I wouldn't put too much emphasis on it. I don't think that's the future. I really don't. I think that we're in such a critical point right now. You've got all this advanced technology, but we've got, once again, this country struggling to survive as a superpower when we have this third world mentality trying to take over and literally destroy it. So I can honestly tell you, how are you going to work with the advanced technologies when you have this kind of thing going on here in America? Something's got to give. And that's globally, too. Look at all these countries. I mean, are we really looking to the future when we're right in the midst of a war zone here?
People like Nancy Pelosi and this Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I think they're just paid off by foreign governments.
Oh, yeah. No, they're fine. I think they should basically be in politics in another country. That's all. Just don't be here in America, because they're not Americans. They don't support the Constitution. They don't support the spirit of America. And they really, technically, they don't even support people of different origins, really. It's all a propaganda stunt.
Right.
It truly is.
A lot of time, they're racist.
Yeah, absolutely.
They really are racist.
They are the racists. Oh, absolutely. I've never seen so many people so angry and hateful towards anybody of any color, but especially white races. And once again, you have to look at the starseed of the white race, because we are the off-world species. And I know people don't like to hear that, but I say it often because the white race is the true celestial race. And this is why they've always been the adversary. Now, the indigenous races are brown races, bottom line. Sorry, but it's true. So, and this is why I guess we all want to go home, because the white race essence of origin, celestial heritage, really does come from the cosmic design beyond the galactic center. We don't belong here. As a species. We don't belong here.
I don't think. It's just my own theory. I could be wrong. But I find it very unlikely that people like we all started in Africa.
No, that didn't happen.
Because, I mean, if you look at it, like, so we moved to Northern Europe and we moved to places like that allegedly from Africa, and then our skin color changed and our hair changed and our noses
came by.
It changed. But if that's the case, wouldn't we would see people that have moved, black people that have moved to Northern Europe and places like that have been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. We don't see any kind of evolution taking place in them now,
Correct.
Do we?
Yep, exactly.
And if we all became, if we all started in Africa and we all, some people stayed in Africa, some people went to the Middle East, some people went to Northern Europe or United States, and some people went to Russia, whatever. You would think that as time goes on, say we don't kill ourselves in the next, we suddenly get smart and we stop all the stupid stuff we're doing. 10,000 years from now, we're still here. 50,000 years from now, you would think that we would, if what they're saying is true, that the whole world would lose the color of their skin. That we would lose the dark skin, because once you're civilized, you're not outside that much. I mean, you have clothes on. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I would not. There's some logic there that's missing.
Right. Well, the whole thing is, and I've touched on it also when I talk about the right space-time configuration, we definitely are not from here. We don't belong in this configuration either. And what you're seeing, as I said earlier, was that the brown race is the indigenous race here.
Yes.
We're not part of that bloodline. We are a different species. This is a species war. It is not a race war. It is not a religious war. It is a species war, and there's different bloodlines and different DNA, and a lot of it is starseed heritage and celestial heritage. And if you talk to anybody who's done any contactee work and research and investigations, the majority of people who are contactee-oriented types are usually white.
That's interesting.
And Celtic and some Native American. So you're seeing a different species and a different bloodline. This is nothing against prejudice or racism or this or that. It's just the facts. It's the celestial database, and people should accept that and respect it. And this is what I mean by the wars that never end. I mean, it's just like we can be in our white skin and we will piss somebody off. And it's not about having slaves back in the day. This is about something far deeper than that. And it does need to be resolved. But that, in my opinion, how do you resolve it? Well, we're an advanced species. We need to go home. And I'm going to keep pushing for this until I am off planet, living off planet, to be honest with you.
I dare you to tweet some of this.
I will. I've been tweeting it on Twitter. Are you kidding me? You should check my early tweets.
Really? You haven't been blocked?
Oh, gosh. Well, if you want to get on Twitter, I'll send you some. I have tons of data. I've been talking about this for a long time.
Really?
Absolutely. People need to understand the bigger scenery. And the bottom line is they're so dumbed down. It's always about race wars. It's about this and that, but it's not about the true celestial heritage. This is why the Vril Society was so important. This is why when you look and see what they were working on with their celestial heritage and how they were interacting with other species off planet, I mean, this is a big deal. This is about going home, in my opinion, and I believe that that's what they were trying to do. I really do.
Well, tell us a little bit about the Vril Society.
Well, you probably know more about it than I do insofar as the way you explain it, but the way I see it, because of my own bioelectric field and the way I'm able to navigate through consciousness, is that you're having beings who are very advanced in consciousness, these women who are literally able to act as mediums and conduits to access multidimensional states of consciousness to interface with off-world species. And when they interface with the off-world species, they're actually getting downloads of information, like blueprints of information pertaining to whether it's a spaceship or a craft or a species or a location in the cosmos where their ancestors come from, or an interactive race. So this is very important, and this is why mediums and consciousness and spirituality all dovetail into who we are as celestial beings. And I have a total resonance with that type of society. To me, it feels very, very normal to be able to manifest and bring in these celestial energies. So in my opinion, that's what they were working at. It wasn't just about winning the war. I believe they were trying to go home. I believe that he was always trying to get out of this world and the illusion of, and leave it, and take his race and his spiritual brothers and sisters with him. That's the way I see it.
So you've heard of the lady named Maria Orsich, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And she was one of the famous mediums in the Vril Society.
Hmm.
Was she a leader of that society, or one of the leaders?
I think she was one of them, if I'm not mistaken.
And
I know there was another one, but I believe it was her. Or at least she was the one doing the major channeling.
and these, for example, these ladies had very, very long hair,
Hmm.
and that would somehow enhance their telepathy.
That's
To
what
a
I heard.
degree.
It acted like an antenna.
Uh-huh.
I thought that's very interesting as well.
And they had kind of a mental telepathy contact with some group from the Aldebaran star
Aldebaran.
system.
Right.
Aldebaran,
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. And I heard that also. What's interesting is that seems to be a correlation to our starseed heritage insofar as celestial beings here. Most of us have a connection to that naturally through our DNA.
And I think these ladies actually, when they were getting this contact, they wrote in Sanskrit. They wrote in ancient Sanskrit, and they wrote in some other languages that they didn't even personally know.
Right. And another thing tells me, they talk about the vril and the power of the electrical, the bioelectric field and the light body. I call it the light body to the Merkaba because you're dealing with the body being booted up almost similar to the way I was in 2004. It's just that interface with almost an artificial intelligence that boosts your energy field up to a point where you're interfacing with a very advanced technology and information. And to me, it seems like they were definitely getting an interface. And who's to say she wasn't interfaced with an artificial intelligence? She could possibly have been to a point where she was getting that kind of a blueprint. And once again, that's a technology, in my opinion, that is priceless. When you're able to do that, that is priceless. I'm not talking these regular channels out there. I'm talking about the capabilities of basically interfacing with artificial intelligence to that level is phenomenal.
My understanding is they contacted people that were in this Aldebaran star system. It's something like 68 light years from Earth. I think there are 2 planets there. And there are people there, I guess white-skinned people, evidently, that they had contact with. And so you were saying that Hitler and that group, probably the Thule Society, felt they were somehow related to these people or connected to this other group?
I believe that.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't there in the illusion of, but that's my impression. That's my intuitive hit on it. And that's just like us with our star family, too. I know that I'm not from here. I mean, we have celestial heritage that we have a resonance with and an interactive celestial star family. So I believe that, yes, that's the case. And to me, when you're seeing the world for what it is and you're ascending and your knowledge base is just off the charts, you don't want to stay in a world that's going to invert your life or keep you dumbed down and switched off. And you're seeing this here right now, right? It's almost like we're reliving this experience in a sense that we have to keep ascending and growing and evolving. And the way to do that is off planet with our celestial heritage and ancestors. That's my impression anyway. And that's why I kind of look at the mirror between worlds and I look at what happened back during the war and also what's happening now. And it seems to me like that's really the message to me. That's the big message.
I believe that one group from this Aldebaran system evidently went to Mars at some point. And were part of the whole construction of the pyramids on Mars and the face on Mars and all that. I don't know if that's true, but I think I've heard that before.
Yeah, I can't confirm much of that, but I will say we come from, our celestial heritage comes from the stars, so we have all that access to the Phallat Akashic. If we truly look for the data stream, we can find it. There's no doubt about it. And I don't believe all these pyramids were left behind just so we can go over there and take a picture, That's the bottom line, or if you want to, whatever purpose you want to use them for. Bottom line is we have so much that's been obfuscated before our eyes that it's time to really just look at it for what it really is. And now it seems like this whole place is just becoming a graveyard. To me, this illusion of a world called Earth has become a graveyard. Yeah.
It seems like we're headed to that direction, doesn't it?
It really does, and it makes me kind of sad, Mark. It really does. I have to be the most optimistic person, at least I used to be, really optimistic about everything. And it's not like I'm totally cynical. It's just that I see it so clearly. And it's like, well, what's the solution? Okay, we're in the midst of a battlefield here, and we've got to figure out the solution to this equation. And to me, the solution, at least for myself, would be the most successful outcome would be living off planet.
And I think this Maria Orsic, she eventually got a message from these people about how to build one of these ships. And I think that's where the German started when they started building some of these flying craft. At least that's what I've heard.
Yeah, no, I've heard that also with the Honeymoon and some other ones. Well, they had some interesting experimental craft. There's no doubt about that. But the thing is, I think the mechanics behind this is how to navigate through space and how to navigate through the frequency band. And we know how to do that because it is about frequency and modulation of waves. So regardless of what you're using for a ship, it's really about us being able to phase shift, teleport, bilocate. We can take our physical bodies with us if we have the right coordinates, and we're phasing into a space-time continuation or continuum that actually accommodates our bioelectric field and molecular structure. So that's what I'm talking about. And, they're talking already about not phasing, but teleportation now, like in Star Trek. Well, they had that for a long time. They're just not exposing it. Once again, it's always about, this is only for the 1% or the group of people in the illusion of elite, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it's not their birthright, it's not their celestial heritage, and it's not their legacy, and most of their information has been stolen. So we have to look at it like, it's time to give back what you've stolen.
Another one of these groups in the Third Reich, they would talk about something called the Black Sun, or the Schwarze Sun, which was some symbol. And it was actually, I know that there's some structure over there, some German, I don't know if it's like a castle or whatever, but it has one of these, what they call the Black Sun symbols, built right into the floor. And I don't know much about this Black Sun, but it's something that I probably should do some more structure or some more searching on and some more study, because this is part of the whole deal, this whole idea of the Black Sun.
Right. I see it as a Stargate.
Oh, wow.
That's how I see it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Mirror between worlds, once again. You're looking at the sun and the illusion of our sun, the electric sun, so to speak. It's a Stargate anyway. But what is a Stargate? It's a portal, multidimensional field. That's the way I look at things. I see them as energetic constructs. You were talking about constructs for a second, even if it was a Freudian slip. But that's the idea behind it, is the energetic signature behind the Black Sun, excuse me, which would tell me that it's definitely a portal of some kind.
That's very interesting, because I think Heinrich Himmler remodeled a castle and put this symbol in one of these, in the North Tower on this castle.
Right, and if you watch the video with Linda Moulton Howe recently, talking about Antarctica, supposedly there's some symbols of the Black Sun down there too.
Well, I could certainly do a whole lot more research on this, because I think it's more than just a symbol.
Oh, it is. And the thing is, like I said, it's a portal, it's a Stargate in my opinion, but a lot of people associate it with evil and this and that, and of course, yes, it's connected to different secret order, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but the bottom line is, people, what they don't know always scares them, and most people are afraid of mystery school teachings or anything that's esoteric in nature or has a supernatural kind of essence to it.
This is so interesting, because I think the Germans actually had levitation technology back around 1922.
Yeah,
before World War II. That's how far ahead this one group in the Vril Society and maybe the Thule Society. But I'm not sure it was the whole society. I think they had to kind of go underground to a degree.
Yeah, I think they broke up. Well, I don't blame them, because when you're being hunted or surveilled to some degree, you have to go under.
It's so interesting. It's like we don't even know our own history, do we?
Well, that's the saddest part of all, is I was never educated in any of these things. We had to roll up our sleeves and kind of decode, and certainly isn't conspiracy data. This is actually real information that we've been decoding for a very long time. And some of us who have done mystery school teachings or been involved in spirituality, we've learned how to decode information even easier because we come from that benchmark. But yeah, it's a shame that we've wasted, not we, but they've wasted so much of our prana here, misdirected with false information. That's what bothers me the most, Mark. It's like they've literally tried to dumb everybody down since day one. It's a miracle we were actually awakened.
You know, there is a book, I think it's called The Coming Race.
Yes, I ordered it. I'm actually going to read it. Yes, I did. It's on Amazon for $4.
No
I am
way.
serious.
Oh my God.
I just ordered it. So yes, you should order it. It's on Amazon. I just thought I had to order it. Actually, from a link you sent me. That's why I ordered it.
No kidding.
Yeah. Get it.
I should get that book, because I think
$4.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be about this subterranean master race that knew about this energy form called the Vril.
Right. Yeah, that sounds like the photon electric field. That's kind of like what I've been doing. Yeah.
This was written back in 1871. They call it science fiction. Yeah.
Well, my book 1 Million Miles Till Midnight is cloaked as a sci-fi, but it's not.
This is so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might have to try to buy this book.
Oh, you have to get it. I'll send you a copy. If you don't buy it, I'll send you a copy.
Seriously?
Yes.
That's a trip. That's really good. I bet this is going to be a really good book.
Oh, I do too. I'll let you know. I should be getting it on Monday.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Golly.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, there is just so much here to learn. That's what's really exciting about some of this stuff when you get into it. And it's too bad that we have such a, the mainstream is so not ready for this kind of stuff.
No, but you know what? They're not supposed to be. You know, I always quote this from, was it Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where they say they were invited. He was invited when he's there, and he's not supposed to be by the extraterrestrial race. Those of us who understand what's going on, we were invited. This isn't something by accident. We're supposed to know this data, and we keep growing and evolving and ascending with the materials and the information, and nobody should be able to stop us from doing that. And that's my point, is that we were invited. Our celestial heritage is signaling us to awaken and ascend out of this well. And we are doing that, whether people like it or not. And there is a struggle here. There's no doubt about it. But for me, it's like I said, I can't live in this maelstrom. It's unhealthy. Mm-hmm. And we've got to change it. And the only way to do that is through the information and technology that we know about, through consciousness and also the technological fields and frequency and modulation of waves. That's huge for this.
Such interesting material.
Yeah, it is.
So much of our history has been kind of disregarded.
All right. Well, we don't even want to go into the Hitler aspects of how they demonized that whole thing. Geez, I mean, that's another show.
That's a whole other show, because I've been doing more research on that.
Yeah,
and there's even more stuff in the Meyer material about that than I realized.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. It's a huge area. Oh, geez. I know we've gone a whole hour, haven't we?
Oh, it's wonderful. You know, I'm so glad we touched base again. I have to have you back on hyperspace.
I know.
I will send you some dates, and I hope we can pre-record and get you on the show again.
Definitely. Let's do this.
Okay.
What time when's your next show? Tonight?
Oh, yeah, I have a show tonight, actually, with Bill Brown. He's going to be talking about the pyramids in Egypt, actually.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good show. What time?
It'll be a great
that's
show.
Late, though. You're late.
I'll send you an archive. But, yeah, it'll be late. 12 midnight Eastern time at Raven Star's Witching Hour.
12 p.m. midnight?
Yep, 12 p.m. midnight Eastern time.
You are part of the Vril Society. You can just...
Well, you know what? That's my bioelectric fields. It was hijacked in 2004. I guarantee you that is.
And this guy is... What's he going to say about the pyramids? What does he have to say?
He's actually decoding a lot of information pertaining to star maps that correlate to the pyramids themselves, and also some unknown structures connected to the Giza Plateau, if I'm not mistaken. He's doing some phenomenal work. He's also building pyramids and selling these big structures. He's actually been selling buildings which are really just completely energized to different countries for healing.
Are you guys going to be on live stream tonight? What's that called?
No, we're going to be we'll be live on radio at revolution.radio at Raven Stars.
But what's the other website that sometimes Revolution Radio?
Oh, TalkStream Live will pick it up.
Live. Will it pick it up? Good.
Yeah, they'll be on. So you can go through TalkStream Live.
Is it under the paranormal section? Or
no, you just go in there. It'd be under Revolution Radio.
Oh, I didn't find Revolution Radio under there.
Oh, yeah, it's there. I've seen it.
Okay.
If you go into TalkStream Live, you'll see it. You see all the shows listed, and Revolution Radio will be listed in there, too.
Very, very cool, Solaris. Mm-hmm. It's always a joy.
And you, too. Yeah, it's been great. Thank you so much, Mark.
I'll post this on Blog Talk for you.
All right. Well, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.